Hi friends, in today's story we meet a girl that has a huge disappointment and a huge surprise all in the same story. Are you ready to find out what happens to her? Let's find out. Welcome to Uncle DJ's Bedtime Stories. So what do we do on Uncle DJ's Bedtime Stories? Well, I'm going to tell you a story, and then at the end of the story, we're going to play a game. So in order to win the game, you have to pay attention to the whole story. Otherwise, you can't win. Today's story is called B- and the Happy Accident. Are you ready? Let's go. Today's story is about a girl, and her name is... let's just call her Everly. Are you saying Beverly? No, I'm saying Everly. Beverly? No, Everly. Think of it this way. I'm saying Beverly without the B. So drop the B, and that makes Everly. Oh, okay, Everly. Got it. So it's Beverly minus the B, which is how she got the nickname B-. If there's one thing that B- loves to do, she is an artist. You know what? Check that. She is a creator. Not only does she draw, she creates creatures. Totally. Not only will she draw creatures, but she will give them personalities. She'll give them things that they like, things that they dislike, things that they can do, things that they can't do, things that they want to do, but they can't and wish that they could. She is a creator. One of her favorite tools to create with is the crayons, wax crayons. Do you like to draw or color? I like to draw and color. I drew a picture of Mr. Kitty. What do you think of my picture? Mr. Kitty, do you like the picture? You're not paying attention. Apparently, Mr. Kitty doesn't care about the picture that I drew for him. For her birthday, usually B- will get, of course, you guessed it, craft supplies, art supplies. And just like every other year, her grandma sent her a box of crayons. Not just any box of crayons, we are talking the 64 box of crayons. That's right, we're talking 64 box of Crayola crayon. The box I didn't get till this video is not sponsored by Crayola. I do not work for Crayola. I do not get paid by Crayola. I am not getting a kickback by Crayola. I just like Crayola crayons. However, Crayola, if you do want this to be a product placement, call me. I really did throw it and they really stayed in. So B- gets the big box of crayons. She just loves it. She went up to her room right away. She's drawing, she's creating, she just loves the crayons. Well, one day they're gonna go visit some friends of theirs and she's thinking, well, do I take my crayons or not? And she took them. When they got to where they were going, she left them all in the car. Well, normally that isn't such a bad thing, leaving her stuff in the car. However, this is the summertime and it gets really hot in the summertime. And when things are inside of a vehicle, it gets even hotter. And you know what happens to wax crayons when they get too hot? Yeah, they melt. Crayons can melt? Crayons can melt. Really? Really? I didn't know that. Sounds like a science lesson to me.
And that leads us into our science lesson of the day. Today's science lesson is about heat. Did you know that heat makes things melt? Today we're talking about when a solid object turns into a liquid, and that's called a melting point. Okay, so everything you just said, I don't understand. Let's make it simple. Popsicles. You understand popsicles, right? I understand popsicles. Who doesn't love popsicles? A popsicle is a solid object, but a popsicle is only a solid object until it starts to get some heat on it. When your popsicle starts to warm up, it turns into a liquid. And so you can't eat your popsicle anymore, you will have to drink it because it melted. So let's look into this a little bit further. Okay, melting points. Popsicles. The melting point of a popsicle is 0 degrees Celsius. So as long as your popsicle, which is a solid object, will stay a popsicle as long as it's colder than 0 degrees Celsius. If it's -5, if it's -10, or -20, your popsicle will stay a popsicle. Once the temperature warms up to 0 degrees, your popsicle will start melting. And if it gets warmer than 0, your popsicles will become a liquid, a pool of liquid. Now, did you know the same thing works for crayons as well? Crayons are a solid object, but the melting point of Crayola crayons is 105 degrees Fahrenheit, which is equal to 40.5 degrees Celsius. When your crayons get that hot, they will start to melt. And then your crayons will become a pool of liquid, just the same as your popsicle became a pool of liquid. A hot car will melt your crayons. So today we've been talking about melting points, and now you know when a solid object starts to turn into a liquid, that's called the melting point. And that is your science lesson of the day. Today's science lesson has been brought to you by Uncle DJ's Bedtime Stories. Please melt responsibly.
This is the summertime, and it gets really hot in the summertime. And when things are inside of a vehicle, it gets even hotter. So B- and her mom are visiting their friends.
A few hot car melting points later.
And when they came out to the vehicle, and when B- opened up the door, yeah, her precious wax crayons melted. It was a big, messy, gooey, it was just awful. They went home and she took her papers up to her room and she's looking at them, and it's just, what a mess. She was really sad, and so she cried for a while. Those were the only crayons she had left. She uses crayons so often that she really doesn't have any more. The only other thing she has is pencil crayons, and pencil crayons are not her favorite. And then, as she's looking at her papers, she notices something. She sees something. She goes and grabs a pencil and she starts drawing an outline of what's there. And you know what she discovered? She drew a creature. So she continues to outline, and then she gets called for supper, and she goes down and has supper with her family. Tonight, they were having burritos, and she was sitting next to one of her brothers. After supper, she went back to her room, and she ended up inventing a new creature. A creature that she's going to name him. Can you guess the name? The name came to her at supper time. Yes, burrito. So she starts drawing with the pencil crayons. And guess what? She found out that pencil crayons aren't actually so bad. As she's drawing and creating, and this creature was coming to life, was a Glophosaurus. Technically, he's a dinosaur. She was so happily surprised at what had come from this accident earlier in the vehicle to coming up with a new creature. She had her window open. She could hear the birds singing outside. It was such a nice day when all of a sudden, from downstairs, she heard a loud, yeah, just like that. She ran over to the window and she looked out the window. And you know what she saw? That's right. Mew's mansion. Of course, you're kidding. Ticket taker. And so, how is it with you, friends? Have you ever had a big disappointment happen to you? Maybe sometimes your plans will change, Or maybe something like this happened to you, or you wanted something for your birthday and you didn't get something for your birthday that you wanted. I don't know. Just something where you were disappointed. How did you take that disappointment? It's okay to be disappointed when things happen. It's okay for us to be happy, sad, and mad when the situation calls for it. And it's totally okay to have those feelings and express those feelings. But what Everly did was she accepted it and she moved along and even found something happy out of an accident. That is called serendipity. Serendipity? Serendipity. I think that's your next word of the day. Serendipity. Serendipity. Never mind. So the next time that you feel disappointed about something, let's remember the lesson from B-, that it's okay to be disappointed, but let's try to find some joy out of that situation. And that's the end of the story. That's the end of the story. That's the end of the story. You know what time it is, right? Is it time to draw? It's time for the recap mishap. What happens in the recap mishap? Let me tell you what happens in the recap mishap. That was loud. I'm gonna retell the story. I'm gonna recap the story. But when I do, I'm gonna make 5 mistakes. How many mistakes am I gonna make? That's right, 5 mistakes. Some of them are going to be easy. Some of them are going to be more difficult. Let's see if you can find all the mistakes. Are you ready? Let's go. Today's story was about a girl named Beverly, and she is an artist. No, check that. She is a creator. She loves creating things, drawing creatures, making up creatures. And let me tell you, these creatures, they have personalities. They have things that they can do, things they can't do, things they wish they could do. And she is a creator. One of her favorite tools that she loves to use are pencil crayons. She uses pencil crayons all the time. She loves how they go together so you can blend them, the textures. And now it's her birthday again. And so she gets a gift from Grandpa. And it's, guess what? And guess what it is? That's right. It's a brand new box of crayons. And one day they go to visit some friends of theirs. And she leaves her crayons in the vehicle. And guess what? It's summertime and it's hot. And you know what happened? Yeah, that's right. They melted. She was just so sad. They go back home. She's sad. She's crying. She is just not having a good day. But then she's looking at the paper and then she realizes, wait a minute, there's an outline of something here. She goes and gets a pencil and she's drawing. She has now just invented a new creature. A creature that she calls a Glophosaurus. Technically, it's a dinosaur. Now it's time to eat. So she goes and eats and they're having burritos for supper. She mentions her new creature to her brother and her brother says, we're eating burritos. You should call him Burrito. And so she does. She goes back to her room and continues working on Burrito. And over the next few days, came up with his personality, things he likes, things he dislikes, things he wishes he could do, things he can't do. And she's so impressed with the drawing that she has made that she submitted him to an art contest. And she won. And the picture was even printed in the newspaper. And so she was just so glad that something good came out of something bad, some disappointment in her life. And that's the end of the recap. Did you find the 5 mistakes I made? Good luck in finding them. Thanks again for watching Uncle DJ's Bedtime Stories. Really appreciate it. And tonight, I want to say goodnight to Janelle. Good night, Janelle. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, watch another video. If you really enjoy my channel, share it with your friends. Tell everybody. Tell Billy, tell the dinosaurs, tell Miss Cecile, tell everybody. Tell your neighbor, tell the people that don't live in Muse Mansion anymore because it's abandoned. Click the like button, subscribe. But you're already subscribed anyway, aren't you? Yeah. continued working on her creature, continued the recap mishap. Did you remember everything? What happens in the recap mishap? That was loud. Uh-oh. They really did break. See? Oh, I tried to break it and I couldn't. There we go. You want to say goodbye, Kitty? Mr. Kitty says goodnight. Bye, everyone.